This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on enhancing connectivity with Bangladesh and bilateral relations. The participants are Veena Sikri, former diplomat, and Nilova Roy Chaudhary, journalist.
It's the 50 years of Mujib Borsho this year, and it's a very special year for Bangladesh and India relations. 50 years of Bangladesh's liberation and 50 years of our bilateral relationship. So in that context, today Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji inaugurated the Maitri Setu between India and Bangladesh, built over the Feni River, which essentially flows between Tripura and Bangladesh. And this is meant to be a landmark kind of an event today. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina from Bangladesh also said that the inauguration of the 1.9 kilometer long Maitri Setu would herald a new chapter in close relations between the two neighbors. Why is this such an important infrastructure development between the two countries? What is the historic importance of this particular bridge?
Actually, this is a very dynamic moment and a very important moment in Bangladesh-India relations. There are three events coming together. One is the 50th anniversary of the Liberation War, which India and Bangladesh fought side by side and helping the people of Bangladesh to attain their liberation and their independence. The second is the 50th anniversary, the Golden Jubilee of Bangladesh-India bilateral relations. And this is, of course, a great event to be celebrated again shoulder by shoulder and next to each other. The third event, which is also coming together at the same time, is the birth centenary of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And on this occasion, our Prime Minister is planning a visit later this month on the actual day when the genocidal attacks on Bangladesh started way back in 1971. This Maitri Setu, the friendship bridge between India and Bangladesh, is critical. It is very, very important. It is a bridge that has been built perhaps for the first time. This connects Sabroom in India to Ramgarh in Bangladesh. Now, this bridge, just less than 2 kilometers, it opens up a whole new dynamism of connectivity and trade and bilateral relations between India and Bangladesh. It connects from the side of Chittagong port because Sabroom is just 80 kilometers from Chittagong port. Any shipment landing at Chittagong port can be loaded onto a truck and brought to Sabroom in a matter of hours. And from there, once it crosses into the Tripura state and accesses the road and rail connection between the state of Tripura and the other states of the northeast, then you can see that it opens up a whole new dimension, not only for people to people, but also for trade and bilateral relations and for regional and sub-regional relations. And this is the important point that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Prime Minister Modi have emphasized in their statements, that this bridge really brings Bangladesh and India closer together like never before. Because just as India can carry its goods, Chittagong port is hardly a 1 or 2 day sailing from Kolkata port. Containers can be brought on barges, in fact, to Chattogram port and then taken straight up to the northeast. Whereas if you use the long route, several thousand kilometers via the road route and through the Chickens and Siliguri area, obviously this is going to make a big difference. But just as it opens up the connectivity for India, it also opens up the prospects for Bangladesh investment in Northeast India. It opens up the prospect for Bangladesh's trade with Northeast India because there can be a lot of exchange of commodities, exchange of goods, let us say, fresh fruits, bamboos for processing, for further value addition, which can then be done in Bangladesh, re-exported to other parts of India, re-exported to the Northeast or to any other part of the world. So it really is a win-win situation where both Bangladesh and India can greatly benefit. And if this connectivity, the road and rail link tie up to the India-Myanmar-Thailand road highway that is being planned or is underway, then you can imagine it also opens up all connectivity to the Southeast Asia as well.
So essentially, friendship and sort of bilateral sort of equality, as it were, is the essence of the relationship between India and Bangladesh. Probably makes it the most important relationship for India in the region and for both countries, as it were, to mutually grow. And India's Act East policy, Bangladesh is a kind of a pivot for that. For Bangladesh, India's market is a huge thing. So the Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for setting up the integrated check post at Sabroom today. So that would also be benefiting South Assam, Manipur and Mizoram and helping with trade and tourism prospects. But more than that, a Prime Minister will be visiting Dhaka on the 26th, as you rightly said. And what is the impact of a visit like that on Bangladesh-India relations?
I think this visit is very important. It is really one of the, shall I say, it's been building up to it. And now the way the government of Bangladesh has planned the celebration and Prime Minister is going to be the chief guest there, it is really going to be a very significant, I would say, keystone visit, as it were, because it brings together all that we have been doing with Bangladesh in the last 10 or 15 years, and it carries us forward into a new dimension beyond the Golden Jubilee and how we look at our relations coming ahead. And I think this is exactly what you also mentioned, that the relationship between Bangladesh and India as it has evolved and the speed it is evolving in the last 5 or 6 years is really impressive, because this time, for the first time, you see a strong focus on implementation. You know, in the past, so many declarations are issued, so many projects are announced, and they go on their own speed, slow speed, and so on. But so that was at many times a point of frustration. But this time you see that this Maitri, Setu, and so many other projects like the rail connectivity are announced and then quickly being implemented. So the finances are there, the credit line is there, and they are quickly being implemented and of great benefit to both the people. And this is key to how the relationship between Bangladesh and India has emerged, and that's why in some cases it's called a model relationship for South Asia, because it is based on mutual benefit seeking a win-win situation, on mutual trust. Both countries trust each other. They are saying, and what they have evolved as projects which are mutually beneficial will actually be implemented, and it is really contributing to the mutual friendship between the two countries at a people-to-people level. So whatever projects are being done, especially these connectivity projects, are all ultimately going to benefit the people. And that is why the integrated check post being inaugurated is very important, because no trade or people-to-people movement can take place without that kind of an integrated check post, which looks after a people's movement and trade movement and everything all in one. So it is a great facilitator of such movement. And that is why, everything is being planned side by side. In some cases, you'll find sometimes a bridge is being built, but beyond the bridge, there's nothing. So to make sure that beyond the bridge, there's something in Tripura, the Prime Minister has also inaugurated a large number of infrastructure projects in Tripura as well. So which will ease the movement once the bridge is ready and the integrated check post is functioning, then it will actually ease the movement in Tripura and make sure that you can connect to the Agartala railhead and so on, so that movement can take place beyond that. This is a very coordinated and planned way in which both countries have been working together on this subject. And side by side, you've seen that there were also trade talks between India and Bangladesh. The water resources secretaries that are going to meet. So there's, a whole movement on a wide and broad dimension of activity, leaving nothing out and making sure that we are moving ahead in a very, very special way indeed.
And what is also wonderful is that with all of this connectivity with our immediate neighboring country, our own country is also getting more integrated, in the sense that the mainland of India's connectivity with Northeast India, which was somewhat difficult in certain phases, has now been eased to the extent it has because of Bangladesh. So, the Agartala railway link, which also helps reach Tripura, which was kind of difficult earlier without Bangladesh being involved.
Yes, the Akhora-Agartala rail link, which is a very, very small rail link, connects the Indian railhead at Agartala with the Bangladesh railhead at Akhora, And Akhora was one of the earliest railheads built by the British when under colonial rule. And so it really completes that story of connectivity, so that when you come on the Akhora link, you can straight away move into Tripura and go on to the northeast. And I think that this is really going to be a big eye-opener for trade opener for Bangladesh, because it gives them the connectivity to the northeast and through the northeast to Southeast Asia. So the actual realization of Bangladesh as a kingpin of India's Look East policy is actually happening as we speak. Bangladesh has expressed interest in joining India-Myanmar-Thailand trilateral highway. And so you can imagine that, you'll really have this huge movement of goods and people and linkages. Imagine being able to drive, for example, example, from, let's say, Dhaka to Singapore, or from Guwahati to Singapore, something like that. It's quite amazing what the possibilities are when we look at it. And all because of these little connectivities, the Howrah-Agartala rail link, the Maitri Setu over the Feni River, and so many other little things like that which are making all this possible.
Especially given the fact that Myanmar is a little dicey at the moment with its politics being a little up in the air. If there is a route available through Bangladesh to Southeast Asia, it also enormously enhances India's trade capacity and potential.
Yeah, but we'd have to go through Myanmar. If it's an international highway and if there's a container truck or something like that, then that one would expect that there would be facilities for its movement and so on. But certainly it does a great deal for Bangladesh becoming a part of India's Look East policy and participating in a way that will benefit them. Because, Indian investments in Bangladesh will also now increase substantially, because Indian investments will take place in Bangladesh where you can set up factories, bringing in raw material from the Northeast, producing the value-added product, taking it back to Northeast, taking it to other parts of India, taking it abroad to third countries, and of course selling it in Bangladesh as well. So this has really opened up many possibilities. I think it will greatly benefit Bangladesh industry as well, because the entire connectivity organizational structure is Bangladeshi. The trucks are Bangladeshi, they're Bangladesh transport companies managing that. And so they, every time, whether it's by rail, by road, or by waterway, the infrastructure does belong to Bangladesh. And so their companies benefit directly from participation in this process.
In fact, External Affairs Minister, when he visited Dhaka just a few days ago, said that among the reasons we're working so hard to expand our relationship in every dimension, from security, trade, transport and connectivity, culture, of course, being a bedrock between the people. He said that the comfort levels are now so high that there is no issue that we cannot discuss and resolve through amicable dialogue.
Absolutely. In fact, that is what it's really, as I said, a model for South Asian relationship. And Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned this very strongly in her speech when she said that boundaries shouldn't be barriers to trade, and how the participation of the countries of South Asia in the intra-regional trade among each other is very low by global standards, because in Europe, in Southeast Asia, and so many other regions, the intra-regional trade is much higher than what it is for countries of South Asia. And I think that what Bangladesh and India have done to remove their barriers will contribute so much to the bilateral trade that other countries, now Nepal and Bhutan, have already expressed interest in participating. And Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned this as well in her message, saying that she looks forward to Nepal and Bhutan benefiting from this trade, from this connectivity as well, because they will also use this infrastructure to reach Chittagong port or to reach Mongla port, and they don't have to then depend only on Kolkata port. So this is a great all-round benefit for the countries of South Asia, gives a great strengthening to India's and Bangladesh's sub-regional cooperation project, the BBIN, the Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal. That gets a great boost. We can draw in South Asia by building the necessary infrastructure for reaching Southeast Asian countries. Then you have the organization like BIMSTEC getting a great boost as well. And BIMSTEC headquarters are based in Bangladesh, so it will get a real boost.
In fact, External Affairs Minister also said that Bangladesh is a valued partner not only in South Asia but also in the broader Indo-Pacific region. And that's vital, because at this point the whole sort of world's focus, as it were, is shifting to this part of the world. And India and Bangladesh already being in BIMSTEC, as you said, both, keeping the trade lanes open, the sea routes, the maritime navigation routes open is so vitally important. And if Bangladesh also comes on board, it adds a lot of heft to India's intentions and desires in that part of the world.
Bangladesh is definitely a key area when you look at the Indo-Pacific region because of the Bay of Bengal. And, India-Bangladesh cooperation in the Bay of Bengal to keep the sea lanes open, as you mentioned, and to ensure free trade and to make sure that we work together, cooperate for each other's benefit. This is vital. So certainly Bangladesh and India need to cooperate on that. And in that context, we also had right now, as we speak, there are the visit by 2 Indian naval ships to Mongla port. And this is perhaps the first time that Indian naval ships are visiting Mongla port, 50 years after the Liberation War. So it's another breakthrough, another important connectivity, another important link in the cooperation between India and Bangladesh. It's very important indeed.
Thank you so much, Zeenat.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on enhancing connectivity with Bangladesh and bilateral relations. The participants were Veena Sikri, former diplomat, and Nilova Roy Chaudhary, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our website newsonair.com.